The air on Xiphos Prime was sterile, processed through towering filtration spires, before it ever reached the lungs of those below. In the heart of the Galactic Council's capital, a grand execution platform loomed over the masses. Billions of eyes, some present, most watching through holo feeds across the galaxy, were fixed on the lone human standing at the center of the spectacle. General Marcus Cain stood tall, his uniform torn but his posture unbroken. Shackles bound his wrists behind him, their dull silver glinting under the harsh artificial lights. His face was bruised from the so-called interrogations, but his steel-gray eyes burned with defiance. The High Chancellor of the Galactic Council, Voris, raised a clawed hand for silence. The crowd obeyed. He stepped forward, his voice amplified by unseen technology, each syllable dripping with cold finality. Marcus Cain, commander of the Terran Defense Forces, you stand accused of crimes against the Galactic Order. Crimes of war, insurrection, and defiance against the Council's supreme authority. He let the words settle before continuing. For your atrocities, you are sentenced to death, effective immediately. Cain did not flinch. He had known this would be his fate. From the moment he surrendered to buy time for his forces to retreat. He had fought for Earth, for the survival of humanity. But the Council had always feared them. Feared what humanity could become. Ambassador Lyra Voss stood at the edge of the platform, forced to watch. The last human voice in the Council chambers, reduced to a powerless spectator. Her nails dug into her palms as she met Cain's gaze, silently pleading for some miracle. But no miracle came. The noose was placed around his neck. Not a plasma guillotine. Not an execution. Squad, a hanging. Deliberate. Primitive. A message to every species watching. Humanity would be strangled before it ever had a chance to rise. Cain exhaled slowly, gaze sweeping across the faces of his executioners. Voris, with his reptilian smirk. The Council delegates who had already moved on in their minds, seeing him as nothing more than a footnote in history. They were wrong. The platform mechanism activated. The floor beneath him vanished. Lyra turned away as the rope snapped taut. The crowd cheered. The feeds broadcast his death across 100 star systems. But the silence that followed was not submission. It was the stillness before a storm. The silence did not last. In the days following General Cain's execution, the Galactic Council expected humanity to break, to kneel, to beg for mercy. Instead, they received nothing. No diplomatic envoys, no pleas, not even threats. Just silence. Then, the disappearances began. It started on the outer colonies, where supply routes ran deep into the edges of Council-controlled space. A routine patrol frigate, the Vothrian Spear, failed to report in. When a search team arrived, they found the ship drifting, intact, but abandoned. No distress signal. No signs of battle. Every member of the crew was gone. Days later, it happened again. A high-ranking Council official, one of the key voices condemning Cain, was found dead in his chambers, his throat slit. A single phrase carved into the metal wall beside him. For General Cain. Panic set in. Council fleets tightened their grip on human-controlled systems. But the harder they pressed, the less they found. Human colonies had gone dark. Entire cities appeared abandoned. Their infrastructure intact but their people missing. Surveillance systems caught glimpses of movement in the shadows. Figures clad in black, operating with surgical precision, striking down patrols before vanishing like ghosts. They were not soldiers. They were something else. Something new. Commander Adrian Locke knew better than to fight the Council head-on. Humanity had always been outnumbered, always the underdog. But war was never about numbers. War was about control. From the hidden command center deep beneath the ruins of an old Terran colony, Locke watched a screen flicker with the latest report. Another Council warship had vanished. Another governor had been executed. The strategy was simple: make the Council bleed. Make them afraid. We have their attention, said a voice behind him. Lara Voss stepped into the dim light. The glow of tactical holo maps casting sharp shadows across her face. The diplomat she had once been was gone, replaced by someone colder. Someone with purpose. Not enough, Locke replied. His fingers tightened into a fist. They still think they can control the situation. Lara's gaze flickered to the map, where flashing red markers indicated the growing list of council casualties. Then we make them realize they can't. Locke nodded. The time for shadows was ending. The time for retribution had begun.